and so let's do some Last Epoch. This is a game I've played for a couple of years now, ever since they first released it, and it looks like they're finally doing the 1.0 release. So let's go over a few builds that I think are pretty good. In single player, I mainly played mage and stuff a lot, but in multiplayer, I started with the druid. We'll go over what I'm doing here. So you'll see I'm a white bear. All it is just this unique or this legendary. Just turns your white fur in werebear form. And there's a lot of videos out there that explain a lot of stuff with Epoch right now. And since the game's so popular, it's going to be kind of like Diablo 4 was. The resources on build guides is going to be just insane. So me explaining exactly in detail how like a werebear build works isn't going to be the best. I'll just show you more what I did with my werebear, and then you can kind of check out the rest there. If people are interested, I'll link more things, and I can give you a more detailed explanation of each build that I've done. But let's go with this right here. So what we're doing right here is just a two-handed weapon. This is kind of an older weapon, and it's only level 80, so we need to get a better upgrade there. Kermode's Cage, I just like to use it, whether or not it's good for the build. It is good for the build, but I just like the white werebear fur. So we'll show you how the build works here. As you see, the only thing we're stacking and what we're looking at with each piece of gear is I just want damage over time, attunement, and spell cold damage. We're just looking for that, and then cooldown recovery speed. So as you see here, I have so much cooldown recovery speed with everything that we've got. If we look at other here, where is cooldown? Yep, 42%. So we have the chance of pretty much being able to get all of our cooldowns, like roar and whatnot, up right away. So a lot of times with the Maelstrom build, which is what this is, you'll sit here and you'll attack creatures until you get your Maelstrom stacks really high. Once you get your cooldown reduction up, you can actually just shout real quick, and it'll just give me all my stacks. I can just keep getting that over and over again. So let's show like a demonstration of how a build like this would work in legendary tier 100 map. And you just kind of go through everything really quickly. All your cooldowns are always up. Everything dies immediately. You're pretty much just stacking these little maelstroms on your character's body with that war cry. And you just walk over things. They just die. Like a little mini righteous fire build with how the damage goes out. Really close around your character. Got to get up close and attack things. That's why using things like auto attack and the cleave is great. Just kind of wanted to show how it works in the map. This is a softcore character, and as such, we pretty much have low HP, just kind of building mainly damage over time, trying to make it so I can just walk over things as fast as possible and get them killed if I have to try it. But on release here, we'll go over a few different builds, and I'll check out what's going on. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to play. I've been thinking about doing something like a minion build again. I've been digging those in a lot of the ARPGs, but we might just stick with something like a druid. I really enjoy how this works. What did we get there for a unique? Ezreal's Fury. Okay. Alright, well that's kind of how the werebear works. And then I want to explain how passives work in this game for people that haven't ever played. So when you're leveling up, I'm a primalist. And you go down this primalist tree. And then you get the option at one point to pick one of these other three. So what you want to come up with is what abilities is it that you want to use down here at the bottom. Are any of these important to you with the build that you're doing? And if not, you don't necessarily have to be a Beastmaster to be a Beastmaster. So if you just like a lot of these passives, but you kind of want to be more of a melee-oriented character, you could pick Beastmaster if you wanted to have this. You and your minions deal 50% increased melee damage. So if you wanted that bonus and this extra minion, then you could take that over going with the 20% increased health and mana. Because if you're not looking to be this tanky and you just want to do a lot of damage, something like this would actually do more damage in the end. So it's up to you on how you want to build. So same as with Shaman. If you're going a totem build, you don't have to be a Shaman to be a totem build. You can still go down and get totem stuff and almost get all the things that you would get without being a Shaman. The only thing you're really getting by being a Shaman is this passive bonus here. So I wanted people to understand that when you're first getting into Last Epoch, because people are really confused about how to make a class. And these classes, the ones that you can choose from, they're mainly there just to give you this massive passive bonus here. And you don't necessarily have to be a druid or a beastmaster or a shaman to be one of them. So if you wanted to be a summoner, but you don't care about this +1 summon limit or this melee damage because you're doing something kind of unique, you could always be a shaman over here, and every time you threw down your totem, you'd get that extra. You'd have this extra attunement right off the bat, and you'd get that 50% elemental resistance. So, depending on how you're building, doing hardcore, how far you're going, and whatnot. So that's that. I want to show Druid build there. All right, here's the Acolyte. One of my favorite in the game, pretty much. I really enjoy how the summons work in this game. So let's go over a quick overview of what we did here. We're still leveling up. If you look here, I'll just show you guys what the masteries are. This is us just kind of mainly playing, trying to figure out exactly where we want to go as well, because I'm sure we're going to change this towards the end. But just in case you're interested. I won't go over too much of the passives since there's so much information online and a lot of people making builds on these right now. So if you're interested in me going a little bit further, I will, but just let me know in the comments there. You see right here, we are using the idols that allow us to get the 100% chance for summoning a flame wraith instead of a normal wraith. And that's what this build is revolved around. So we got increased fire damage for minions everywhere, Logi's Hunger, and Dragon Flame Edict, which I still need to finish these. And then I just threw on an Exsanguinous because I was kind of checking out how the health loss with Ward would work with my minion getting my health back. So we'll see how this works real quick. And it worked. It was working really well right before the update, and after the update, this is one of those builds that's going to be really powerful as well. Fire minions. Softcore character once again, but I think that a build like this, where you're summoning and you're getting so much life leech from your minions, I think this would work perfect in a hardcore build as well. Especially if you're not using Exsanguinous like I am for a test here. As you see, a couple of flame wraiths being thrown out, massive amounts of damage, really easy to use. This is built entirely for just kind of running around and just having a fun time. So if you're just looking to do like trade league, something like that, and not push a whole bunch of corruption, a build like this would work really well. Especially just using the 2 wraiths instead of summoning the whole bunch of wraiths. It's just really easy to use. And then this is what we did for setup if you're just trying to do a quick flame wraith setup. Grab that. What's this do? So the volatile zombies is something that after you've already got most of the gear finished, you almost don't need these. Fire resistant stuff that they shred, or the vomit, shredding their armor and whatnot, is not as important at this point in the build. So this we might switch out Dreadshade. Dreadshade's extremely powerful no matter how you build it. And then we got our wraiths. So build's still in progress, but I've used it and it works really well. trying to get like some kind of flame build or some kind of minion build going on, this at around level 80 transitions fairly well into full fire minions. And I say around level 80 because that's about the time that you're going to get something like this. Just makes it nice and easy. And not until level 80 can you really use the Logi's Hunger either. These are really good for fire minions. And around the time that you're getting these, you're going to find these idols naturally. So you'll have the 100% Wraith summon chance as well. Okay. Alright guys, so now here is Hardcore. The Last Epoch. And I do Hardcore a lot on these games, so that's what we're going to go over. This is one of the ones I've been playing a lot. I really enjoy how this works. So I'll really quickly show you the passives. There you go, Hardcore Solo. This is how you see what you've been up to, what the character's doing. So I'm a Hardcore Solo character. I'm just trying to do solo self-found. As you see, let's go over the defenses and whatnot that I went with to do Hardcore. So as long as I'm in this form and I have a heal on, we have massive resistances to everything. Our critical strike avoidance is 146%. We have a little bit of endurance and whatnot. You see here the whole time that we're running around doing things. The armor over to the left, over right in the middle there, just constantly keeps on stacking higher and higher. So extremely tanky build. And on top of that, the build is based around healing totems. So each one of these totems that I have out constantly heal. And the other source of damage is Thorn Shield. But while you're every time you cast Thorn Shield, it pretty much casts a massive heal on your character. So what does this character do? It just heals, heals, and heals, back to max HP constantly. If something's trying to chase you, you got some roots to throw down and whatnot, and it works perfect. Wanted to show some Hardcore because I know a lot of people like to play Hardcore on these games, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So I'll go more into depth on this build soon. We're making the video a little... Well, I'll go into that in a minute. I'll go to that after. Okay, so how the build works, and I'll go over to this just real quick, since I'm making the video right as they're about to do the update, so we don't have so much time to make this. Here's the passives. You start off as a Primalist. It's the choice you have to take. Primalist works really good with the totems. You're pretty much, all you're trying to get is as much attunement and health as possible, since we're in Hardcore. And you're trying to get over here to the spell damage for your totems. As soon as you get the spell damage for your totems, I went down into Berserking, just because when I get low life, I would like to have the less damage taken, since it's Hardcore. After that, we did go with Shaman, and I went with Shaman because the -5 to totem mana cost makes it so we can get to the unlimited mana spam. Plus 10 attunement helps with the totems, and then the 50% element resistance, especially while leveling, was really powerful. This does fall off. I feel like going Shaman falls off a bit if you're not going to use the Summon Storm Totem, and we're not using that too much in this build right now. So you can go Druid if you wanted to get that extra health and mana. Or you could go... I mean, really, Druid would probably be the strongest one for Hardcore. But while leveling, this is just massive, and it helps you get to the unlimited mana spam a lot quicker. So in Shaman Mastery here, mainly just trying to get to the spell damage again for our minions. Along the way, anything that's going to affect your cast speed, or it's going to affect your attunement, or any kind of totems. Anything that's going to make you stronger and take less damage as well. Same with the Druid Tree. Mainly just going for endurance, armor, health, as much attunement, things that we can get, as much attack and cast speed. Attack and cast speed is really important in this build. And then over here in Beastmaster, we're just going for as much damage reduction as possible. And I'll make a more in-depth build soon, but I just wanted to go over real quick. Hey, this is what we're going to use. This is what we're using with Hardcore, and it has worked. And these are things that have worked in solo self-found. I haven't had anybody run me. So how the build works here is for each totem that you summon out, you have them explode when they die. So the point here isn't trying to stack our totem damage really high or our cast speed for our totems like some builds will do. This is literally just trying to stack your cast speed as high as possible. And what we've done here, there's a bunch of different ways to make totem build, but we're just trying to go hardcore with it. So everything is as much damage as possible without much investment into it, if that makes sense. Because we're trying to stack mainly defenses. All right, so here's the totems. You can go almost anything here. The only things that really matter, and I just want to point out real quick, is the cost reduction, the regain mana when totem died or summoned, and the rotten core. So these are what make the totems do damage when they explode. These are what makes you get mana back when you use your totems, and makes it so you can unlimited spam them. The way you go down this tree for damage and you want to spec, that's up to you. But I will go into more depth of that as long as people are interested in this. So Atera's Blessing for hardcore, god-awful powerful. So it's solo self-found really powerful, but in multiplayer. When you play multiplayer with this build, especially in hardcore, you will constantly be healing everybody all the time. So in this case, just as much as we can for healing, and then for defenses. We also have a healing totem that comes down, and when a healing totem drops down to our feet, it becomes a thorn totem the way we're built. So here we go. Resistances, you're mainly going for the resistances, mana efficiency, and just as much healing as possible. Next thing is the Spriggan. Spriggan's extremely powerful, and it also helps you get to that crit avoidance, 72%, just by being out. Remember, though, if your Spriggan dies, that's why we have so mainly in defense on him, you lose that crit avoidance. And getting crit, especially if you're relying on this for your crit avoidance, could be really deadly. So make sure you make them as tanky as possible, and just have them out. They really don't need to do anything else other than just be there for the crit avoidance and to just heal you. Next thing we got is Ice Thorns. Your last ability can be anything that you want. We're only using Ice Thorns because it's something that happens the entire time that you're in another form. So when I'm transformed, Ice Thorns will just constantly be proccing. And I want this Thorn Barrier and this extra armor constantly going on my character. That's all we're really doing. We're just trying to have the Ice Thorns fly out, freeze things real quick whenever we take damage, and then just give us that extra armor and whatnot constantly. And why we spec this way is because we're transforming. So whenever you're doing a transformation build, you're always kind of looking for any ability that works with that build, and all these do. Last thing is if you decide to do this, you won't be going into Ice Branch right away. This is only because of an item I have, and I'll show you that in a moment. But you're mainly just going to spec for the Unbound Garden. If you can get the 3 totems out always when you summon, your mana will go through the roof, since you're getting mana back every single time a totem explodes. And that's mainly what this build is going for. So get down to Unbound Garden once you get your Spriggan form. After that, go ahead and spec into getting more of the poison chance and whatnot down over here and getting as much defense as possible since we're in hardcore, and you'll be golden. So how this works is, as you see, it takes mana to summon a totem. But every single time a totem dies, we get our mana back. So as long as our cast speed's through the roof and we can summon totems quick, we just get mana back constantly, and it's unlimited mana. So let's say I had to heal up a party real quick, summon some stuff out, and I started doing something for damage here. Well, I could just start summoning totems again and get all my mana back real quick. And what makes this even more powerful is when you're in Spriggan form, every time you cast your Thorns, you're healing yourself back to full. You got your roots that you're bringing down, and then you're summoning so many totems out that are healing everybody and exploding that nobody can really die as long as they're around you. So let's show you how this works real quick. This is one of my favorite builds. I highly enjoy using the healing totems in hardcore to kill things and heal parties. Once again, this is a solo self-found character because I just want to see how it works. So as you see, if you just drop some totems down, they can sit there and do damage for you. It's not really all that much. So what we're doing here is you can stack your heals on yourself. This is when you're in real bad situations, and these are constantly going to explode and hurt things too. But as you see, you constantly heal back to full every time you get hit because you got this heals on you. And then when we throw down our totems, they kill everything as well. But what makes the build really powerful is with cast speed involved, you have unlimited mana, and so we're able to stay in our Spriggan form forever. Like, watch me cast a bunch of heals right here and just drain my mana down. And then I just start spamming totems back to full mana once again. So it's really fun. And once the build starts to take off and you start to get it to where you get your mana back from the totems, it feels really good. It feels really good to start figuring it out. So you're mainly just running around the map, constantly casting thorns on yourself to heal yourself back to full. And it's a hot, so you don't have to cast it over and over again. You just have it on. It does damage as well. And you just cast your totems here, and they just blow up the bosses. One of the fun things about it is you're speccing into this over here, and each time the thorns do damage, you get more damage. So up to a maximum damage bonus of 120% the more you poison things. Makes it really fun. But yeah, just for if anybody who's interested, this is a great build for hardcore, especially if you're just trying to help out your party and you just kind of want to be a healing totem person. You're going to do tons of damage. You're going to be extremely tanky. You'll probably be more tanky than most people in your party. You're going to heal more than anybody else, and you can heal everybody. And you're also going to do a decent amount of damage. So, going to be a great build to kind of maybe start and to do a solo self-bound run with. And I'll go more into detail with this too. Oh, looks like servers are down. So, that's the end of the explanation for the shaman here, but we'll give more on that as time goes on.